I pulled up to the lake house I'd paid for. Jake chuckled and said, "We went last week without you. I drove 6 hours to the lake house I paid for. It was empty." Jake said, "We did it last week, bro." No apology, just photos. I stayed silent, but the police knocked on their door. Next. "You drove 6 hours for a weekend that already happened?" Jake's voice had that smirking tone, halfway between amused and indifferent. I stood in front of the lake house, gravel crackling beneath my boots. The windows were dark. The porch chairs still faced the water, like ghosts of a party I wasn't invited to. "We figured you were busy. You didn't answer the group chat," he said, as if that excused everything. "Because I was working," I replied. My voice was low, cold. "You all just went without me?" "You're always working, Eli." That was Mom's voice in the background, flat, deflective, like she couldn't be bothered to step closer to the phone. "You could have said something. I paid for this. It's under my name." "Relax, dude," Jake cut in. "We cleaned up, mostly. You still got the space, right?" "I wasn't asking for leftovers," I said, my throat tightening. They didn't answer, just silence on the line, and somewhere behind it, someone stifled a laugh. "We brought you back a souvenir," Jake added before hanging up. Click. I stared at the lake. Calm. Still. Nothing like me. They didn't know I wasn't going home. Not yet. I'd already made the first call. To the local police. "My name's Eli Roth. 26, youngest of 3. The one who always has it together. The one who answers calls, pays late fees, smooths things over. I keep the peace. I swallow the mood. I split the bill when they forget their wallets. I show up. And when I don't, I'm guilted. Lately, I've been feeling like a ghost in my own family. I could be screaming underwater and they'd just watch from the dock. I rented this place for us months ago. Split my last bonus check to cover it. Thought maybe, just maybe, we'd have a real weekend. Talk, reconnect, something. Instead, they made new memories, without me, and then mocked me with the photos. I didn't cry. Not yet. But my heart felt like it had folded in on itself. The family cast. Jake Oxy, 31, oldest. Always the golden one. Charismatic. Used charm like a crowbar. Grew up getting away with everything. Failed upward. Still lives rent-free in Dad's old condo. Works in crypto, whatever that means. Rachel. 28. Middle child. Mom, 2.0. People pleaser. Wears guilt like perfume. She used to protect me, back when we were kids. But now she just goes quiet. Follows Jake's lead, even when it hurts. Mom. 55. A woman who's been emotionally exhausted since 1998. Speaks in sighs and silence. Her loyalty depends on who's causing her less stress at the moment. It's never me. Dad left when I was 13. Never really came back. That silence taught me how to smile when it burns. The betrayal wasn't just the trip. I found out a week ago, purely by accident, that Jake took out a joint loan in my name. I only saw it because a debt collector called me, asked about our construction investment. The balance? $24,000. I confronted him. "Relax, it's just paperwork," he said. "I needed your credit score. We're brothers. What's yours is mine, right?" No apology, no remorse. Rachel said she didn't know. Mom said, "Let it go, Eli. He's trying." They watched me drown in silence. Again. I stood in the empty living room, dropped my duffel bag, and looked around. The smell of burnt firewood lingered. There was a half-smoked joint in the ashtray. Jake's coat on the railing. They didn't even pretend to hide the evidence. I pulled out my phone, opened the folder labeled Proof. Voice recordings, screenshots, bank statements. One video Rachel sent me by accident of Jake bragging about finessing the little bro again. The air buzzed with resentment. It had been buzzing for years. I flashed back to my 18th birthday. We were supposed to go to dinner. They all forgot. I sat on the front steps for hours with a coat over my shoulders, pretending I wasn't waiting. When Jake finally showed up, he was drunk, said, "You're too sensitive." Rachel said nothing, just looked away. That was the first night I realized. My presence wasn't necessary, just convenient. That night I covered Jake's bar tab, quietly, without thanks. They never remembered the kindness, only my silences. I left the lake house 2 hours later, stopped by the sheriff's office I was in town, filed a report for identity theft and fraud, showed them the paperwork, the voice memo, the screenshots. But I didn't stop there. I mailed them 3 identical envelopes. One to Jake's workplace, one to Mom's HOA board, and one to Rachel's fiancé, who, by the way, doesn't know she co-signed the loan, too. Inside the envelopes, a flash drive. Everything. "They'll finally hear me now," I whispered, sealing the last one. 3 days later, the group chat exploded. Jake. "Bro, what the fuck did you do? You ruined my job." Mom. "How could you take this public?" Rachel. "Eli, please, we can fix this. Just talk to us." I didn't reply. I let the storm burn through their curated lives. Jake got suspended from work. Rachel's fiancé left her apartment. Mom had to resign from the HOA board due to family complications. And me? I went quiet until Jake called me, shaking, voice cracked. "You really hate us that much?" "No," I said calmly. "I loved you all too much. That was the problem." I blocked them for a week, took some vacation days, rented a new Airbnb by myself, this one by the coast, brought books, slept in, learned how to sit with silence without it hurting. On the 5th day, Rachel sent a letter. A real one. Handwritten. It didn't say much, just, "I'm sorry, I knew, I stayed quiet. I won't do that again." She didn't ask for forgiveness. That's what made it real. I won't pretend everything got fixed. This isn't a movie. Jake still hasn't said sorry. Mom is still spinning the story. But Rachel? She's trying. She even offered to help repay the loan. And me? I'm no longer the family's punching bag. I'm not their errand boy. I'm Eli Roth. 26. Survivor of emotional debt, collector of receipts, and finally, the one who left the party before it burned the house down. I sent one last message in the chat before I left it for good. I don't need an apology. I needed boundaries. Now I have them. And just like that, the silence finally felt like peace.